They say the loudest person in the room often has the least to say. In a world where everyone is shouting, posting, announcing, and explaining, silence has become a superpower. This is not a book about keeping secrets. It's about protecting energy. It's about guarding dreams from noise, envy, and unnecessary opinions. Silence is not emptiness, it is energy, the purest form of mental focus that most people overlook in their endless race to be heard. The world today is addicted to noise. The clattering of opinions, the obsession with validation, desperate need to announce every step of progress before it even matures. We live in an age where everyone wants to be seen, but few want to be still, where everyone wants to talk, but few want to listen, where everyone wants to prove they are doing something instead of actually doing it. Yet, this loud chaos, silence has become a rare strength, a weapon that only the disciplined understand. Silence doesn't mean you're doing nothing. You're doing everything that truly matters, inwardly, quietly, with precision and purpose. The loudest voice rarely holds the deepest wisdom, for wisdom doesn't need to scream to be powerful. Silence sharpens your thoughts, it clears the fog of distraction and ego. It allows you to hear your intuition, that soft, persistent inner whisper that guides you when the world is too noisy to understand your direction. In silence, you start to notice the rhythm of your own growth, the pulse of your own mind, and the power of your focus. You begin to see that not everything requires an announcement, not every idea needs an audience, and not every step demands applause. When you learn to move in silence, you learn to value progress over perception. You realize that most people are not listening to understand, they are listening to reply, to compare, to judge. So why tell them your dreams? Why expose your vision to those who only look through the lens of their own limitations? Protect your plans like sacred fire, small, flickering, precious. The wind of opinion can extinguish it before it becomes a flame. When you build in silence, you protect your energy from interference. You are not burdened by others' doubts, nor are you distracted by their praise. Praise, like criticism, can become a prison when you depend on it, can control you if you forget who you are and what you're building for. Silence breaks that dependence. It returns your focus inward, reminding you that your value is not determined by visibility, but by vision. You start to love the grind, the lonely hours, the invisible effort, because those are the moments when real transformation happens. Growth doesn't occur under the spotlight. It occurs underground, in the unseen soil of discipline and patience. The seed doesn't speak while it's sprouting. It simply grows until it breaks through the surface. And only then does the world see its strength. Think of silence as your incubator, a space where your ideas breathe and your confidence develops without pressure. The moment you share your vision too early, you risk exposing it to forces that can drain it before it matures. Not out of malice, because energy is fragile. Every word spoken is energy released. Every detail shared is power diluted. The wise preserve their energy. The foolish scatter it through unnecessary talk. Great builders, creators, and visionaries understand this. Every time you announce a move, invite distraction. Every time you seek approval, you weaken your connection with your purpose. Silence, therefore, becomes your shield, protects your creativity from judgment, your ambition from envy, and your peace from interruption. You don't owe explanations for your dreams. You don't need to justify your process. The only explanation you ever need is your result. And results, when they come, speak louder than any speech ever could. The power of silence lies in its discipline. It demands you to trust the unseen process, to be patient with your progress, to find satisfaction in the work, not in the attention. Most people give up not because they fail, because they can't handle being unnoticed while they're building. They crave recognition too soon, validation too early, but what they don't realize is that the unseen seasons are the most vital ones. That's where foundations are laid, skills are mastered, mindsets are hardened. Silence gives you the chance to prepare without pressure, to fail without judgment, to restart without ridicule. When you work quietly, mistakes become lessons instead of embarrassments. You can recalibrate without shame. You can evolve without explanation. That's freedom, the kind of freedom that only the silent achievers know. The world will always try to pull you into noise, trends, opinions, arguments, and endless updates. The temptation to prove yourself will always whisper, "Tell them what you're doing." But the truth is, you owe them nothing. Let your progress remain a mystery until it becomes undeniable. People remember results, not rehearsals. They remember winners. So let them underestimate you. Let them think you're inactive, unmotivated, or invisible. Because silence is not stagnation, it is preparation. It is your secret weapon, the calm before your storm. When you finally move, your results will speak a language louder than any announcement could. They will ask how you did it, and you will smile, knowing that the answer lies in the quiet hours they never saw. Silence is not weakness. It is maturity. Means you no longer need to broadcast your worth, because you've already discovered it. It means you've shifted from noise to nuance, from talking to doing, from seeking attention to building intention. It means you've stopped chasing the illusion of progress, the appearance of movement, and started mastering the art of real growth. And real growth is quiet. It happens in discipline, in patience, in the small moments when no one is watching. That's where confidence is built, not the shallow confidence that comes from praise, but the deep, unshakable confidence that comes from consistency. When you work in silence, you start to realize that success doesn't happen in front of people. It happens inside you, in the choices you make, the distractions you ignore, the habits you form, and the battles you fight when nobody's clapping. If you want to rise above, you must fall in love with quiet progress. You must understand that silence doesn't make you invisible. It makes you invincible. It gives you power over your emotions, control over your reactions, authority over your purpose. The calm mind sees more, learns faster, and moves smarter. When you no longer feel the need to explain your vision, unstoppable. Because people can argue with your words, but they can never argue with your results. In silence, you begin to realize how much energy you once wasted trying to be understood. You don't need to be understood. You need to be consistent, need to be seen. You need to be steady. The universe rewards those who trust their process quietly and deliver loudly. So be the quiet storm while they talk. Build while they doubt. Grow while they gossip. Let them hear your silence before they see your success. One day, in your full attention, when your results echo through the noise, they'll realize what your silence was saying all along, that true power doesn't need to shout, needs to show up. And when it does, the whole world listens. Stop explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand your vision. The truth is, not everyone has the capacity to see where you're going because they've never stood where you are. Every time you try to justify your dreams, your discipline, or your silence, you give away a piece of your power to those who haven't earned the right to hold it. People judge from the limits of their own imagination. If their mind has never stretched beyond the ordinary, they will never understand your extraordinary. You don't owe anyone an explanation for wanting more, for choosing differently, or for walking a path that doesn't look like theirs. The need to explain is born from the desire to be accepted, and that desire is a silent enemy to focus. When you explain yourself too much, you unconsciously seek permission. You start editing your vision to fit their comfort, and the moment you do that, your dream loses its strength. Stop shrinking to make people comfortable. Stop speaking to make people believe in you. Believe in yourself enough to stay silent until your results make the noise for you. The truth is, most people don't listen to understand, they listen to respond. They listen to debate, to doubt, to correct. You tell them your plans, and instead of supporting you, they project their fears onto your ambition. They'll say it's impossible, not because it truly is, but because they couldn't do it themselves. They'll tell you to be realistic, not because they care about your success, because your courage reminds them of their own cowardice. That's why silence is your shield. Every word you speak gives someone the opportunity to misunderstand, to discourage, to drain your energy. But when you stay silent, keep your power contained, concentrated, protected. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop inviting interference. You learn to move without validation, to build without applause, and to trust yourself even when no one else does. The ones who truly support you will never need explanations. They will trust your process, even when they can't see your plan. The ones who question every step will only slow your pace. Some people are not your enemies. They're just distractions wearing the mask of concern. They'll ask questions not to understand, but to measure your progress. They'll pretend to care while secretly hoping you'll fail. And when you keep explaining, you feed their curiosity more than your mission. You have to understand that your vision is yours for a reason. Was shown to you, not to them. It's not their job to understand it. It's your job to build it. So stop wasting your breath trying to convince people who can't see what you see. Some dreams are meant to be protected, nurtured, healed only when ready. Every explanation weakens your momentum because it shifts your focus outward. Every time you justify your actions, saying, "I need your approval to continue." But you don't. You never did. Progress doesn't need witnesses, it needs work. Greatness doesn't need permission, it needs persistence. The more you explain, the more you expose your insecurities. The less you explain, the more you strengthen your self-belief. Silence isn't secrecy, it's security. It's the decision to choose peace over persuasion, to let your work speak the language your words never could. Explaining yourself also invites unnecessary opinions. Opinions that can poison your confidence. Someone will always have something to say about how you should live, move, and think. But remember, one can give you advice from a place they've never been. Your full attention. People who haven't built anything meaningful will always have the most to say about how you should build. People who never took risks will always warn you not to take them. And people who gave up on their own dreams will always try to make you doubt yours. Opinions are reflections of their reality, not yours. So when they speak, listen carefully, not to what they say, what their words reveal about them. Every piece of doubt they throw at you is really a confession of their own fear. Every time they question your choices, they're really questioning their own. Don't take it personally. Just stop explaining yourself and keep building. There's freedom in silence. When you no longer feel the need to explain, You begin to live authentically. You begin to act with intention rather than reaction. You stop editing your behavior to fit into the expectations of others. The world teaches you to seek approval, to prove your worth through explanations and evidence. But real strength comes from walking away from that game completely. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The ones meant to see your light will notice it naturally. The rest were never looking anyway. When you keep explaining, you spend energy convincing the wrong audience. And that energy could have been used to refine your craft, to deepen your discipline, to move forward. Explanations are distractions dressed as clarity. You think you're making yourself understood, but what you're really doing is delaying your progress. Imagine how many times in your life you've slowed down just to make someone else comfortable. How many times you've dimmed your ambition just to seem relatable. How many times you've changed your plans because someone didn't agree with your direction. Every one of those moments was a withdrawal from your potential. Every explanation you gave was an expense your purpose couldn't afford. It's time to stop spending your energy on explanations and start investing it in execution. Let your silence become your statement, results become your reply. When people doubt you, don't argue. Outwork them. When they misunderstand you, don't explain. Outperform them. When they underestimate you, don't defend. Deliver. Because nothing silences noise like undeniable success. Stop explaining where you've been, why you're quiet, why you've changed. Growth will always confuse the ones who refuse to evolve. People will question your silence because they can't imagine life without noise. They'll question your distance because they don't understand that solitude is sacred. They'll question your focus because they mistake it for arrogance. Let them. You are not responsible for their interpretations. You are only responsible for your intention. You're not cold, you're concentrated. You're not distant, you're developing. You're not ignoring them. You're investing in you. The more you evolve, the less you will explain. And the less you explain, the more you'll realize that peace is louder than words. There's also wisdom in mystery. When people don't know your every move, they can't predict your next step. They can't interfere, imitate, or sabotage what they don't see. Creates protection. Secrecy creates power. The unknown is your advantage. So let them wonder. Let them speculate. Let them think you've stopped, while in reality, you're just getting started. Keep them guessing until your success reveals itself so completely that no explanation is needed. The loud talkers spend so much time proving they're working that they forget to actually work. But you, the silent one, you're building something they'll never see coming. The next time you feel the urge to explain, pause. Ask yourself, am I explaining to inform or to be accepted? If the answer is acceptance, say nothing. You don't need acceptance to advance. You need alignment, clarity. You need peace. The less you talk, the more you'll hear your intuition. The less you explain, the more time you'll have to execute. Explanation seeks validation, execution creates evidence. And evidence ends every argument. There's no need to tell them who you are when your work will show them eventually. So stop explaining. Stop convincing. Seeking permission from those who never gave themselves any. Walk quietly with conviction. Protect your dream from words, protect your energy from questions, and protect your journey from noise. Remember, people don't respect words. They respect consistency. Don't tell them what you're about to do, show them what you've done. Don't explain your silence, let your results translate it. When your moment comes, when your vision becomes reality, you won't need to say a single word. They'll know. And in that silence, you'll finally understand. You never needed to explain yourself at all. There is a certain power that comes when you move in silence, a magnetic force that builds around you when you stop revealing your every move to the world. Secrecy is not about hiding, it's about protecting. It's about conserving your energy, your ideas, and your intentions from the noise of those who can't see what you see or who don't deserve access to your inner world. The energy of secrecy is sacred, is the foundation of every great success story. Think about the most powerful moves made in history. Empires built, innovations launched, revolutions ignited. All of them began in secrecy, in quiet planning, in spaces where only the trusted few were allowed to know. When you learn to master the art of keeping things to yourself, you discover that your energy becomes more focused, your results more precise, influence more impactful. The truth is, when people don't know what you're doing, they can't stop it. They can't predict it, they can't interfere with it, and they can't dilute it. Every time you share your intentions prematurely, you invite distraction, doubt, unnecessary commentary into your process. Not because people are evil, but because people are human. They interpret through their fears, their insecurities, and their limitations. And the moment you expose your dream to those vibrations, its purity begins to weaken. The energy of secrecy is the energy of control. It means you decide who gets access to your information, your emotions, and your evolution. It's the quiet confidence of a person who knows that not every chapter of their life needs an audience. In a world addicted to oversharing, private is rebellious. While everyone is busy documenting their process, you are perfecting yours. While they chase applause, you chase alignment. The difference between the talker and the doer is secrecy. The talker wastes power in telling, the doer channels power in doing. Every word you speak about your next move releases energy. Energy that could have fueled your focus, energy that could have built your foundation, energy that could have been invested into becoming the person you're describing. That's why true visionaries speak less, are not being secretive out of arrogance. They are being strategic out of awareness. They understand that ideas are alive, that they carry frequency, and that frequency is fragile in its early stages. Expose it too early, and it gets contaminated by noise. Protect it long enough, grows strong enough to speak for itself. Secrecy doesn't mean isolation. It means intention. It's knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet, share and when to protect, when to open your circle and when to tighten it. Some things are too precious to be exposed to casual conversations. Some dreams require silence to survive. The problem with revealing too much is that the moment you do, you begin to receive feedback that isn't aligned with your destiny. Someone tells you it's not realistic. Another says it's too risky. Suddenly you're questioning what once felt certain. That's the danger of exposure. Doubt spreads faster than confidence, and energy flows where attention goes. When you give attention to other people's opinions, you drain your own conviction. The energy of secrecy prevents that. It acts like a shield, a force field around your purpose that keeps the negative frequencies out. You don't have to explain why you're quiet, why you're distant, or why you're working behind closed doors. Let people wonder. Let them assume. Let them misunderstand. Mystery is magnetic. It draws curiosity, it commands respect, and it maintains power. The more unpredictable you are, the more control you have over your narrative. People can't play a game if they don't know the rules. They can't stop a plan if they don't know it exists. You must understand that secrecy is not fear, it's maturity. It's realizing that some things lose value when spoken too soon. When you tell people your goals before you've acted on them, you trick your brain into believing you've already achieved something. You get a false sense of satisfaction from the attention instead of the fulfillment from the execution. That's why so many dreams die in conversation. They were celebrated before they were even created. The dopamine of disclosure replaces the discipline of delivery. But when you keep your plans private, that inner hunger stays alive. You wake up with fire because no one knows what you're building, no one expects it, and no one is watching to judge your pace. You move purely for yourself, driven by internal motivation rather than external validation. That's the energy of secrecy. It feeds your focus and starves your distractions. Secrecy also teaches you emotional intelligence. It helps you realize that not everyone asking about your progress deserves an answer. Some people are genuinely curious, others are silently competing. Some will clap for you in public and curse your name in private. The less you give them to talk about, the less access they have to your energy. When you keep things to yourself, you become unpredictable. Unpredictability is power. They can't attack what they can't see. They can't sabotage what they can't touch. So, while they're busy guessing, you're busy growing. And one day, when your results arrive, they'll call it sudden success, not realizing it was silent preparation. The energy of secrecy also cultivates peace. When you stop explaining and start protecting, your life becomes quieter but richer. You realize you don't need everyone's input, you only need your intuition. You stop waiting for permission and start trusting your timing. You stop oversharing your goals and start over-delivering your results. Peace comes when you no longer feel the urge to announce every move, every thought, every decision. There's a profound calmness in moving silently, in knowing that your progress is nobody's business until it's undeniable. You don't have to prove anything, your success will prove it for you. You don't have to respond to rumors, your reality will silence them. You don't have to show the process, the product will speak volumes. The energy of secrecy transforms your presence. People will start to notice something different about you. They'll feel your energy shift. They'll sense the calm, the confidence, the quiet fire burning behind your eyes. They'll wonder what changed, what you're up to, where your focus went. But you won't need to answer. Please keep moving, smiling softly, letting your silence do all the talking. Because real strength never announces itself. It arrives fully formed, doesn't need introduction, it needs recognition. When your results appear, the same people who questioned your silence will respect it. The same ones who thought you disappeared will realize you were just evolving. The key is discipline. Discipline to withhold information even when you're excited. Discipline to keep your energy private even when others overshare. To say no when your ego wants to say, "Look at me." It's easy to post your progress, but it's powerful to protect it. It's easy to talk about your dreams, but it's transformative to guard them. Every secret kept is strength reserved. Every move made in silence builds momentum unseen. When it's finally time to reveal what you've been working on, it won't just surprise people, it will shift them. Because they'll see not just your success, but the mystery that made it possible. So learn to cherish your quiet phase. The world might not understand it, but the universe does. Silence is your soil, secrecy is your sunlight. focus is your water. Together they grow something unstoppable. When you cultivate the energy of secrecy, are no longer reacting to the world. You are creating your own. You are no longer a player in their story. You are the author of yours. Let curiosity steal your concentration. Don't let noise dilute your direction. Build quietly, move intentionally, protect your peace fiercely. Let them wonder. Let them whisper. Let them wait. Because one day, when your success appears out of nowhere, they'll call it luck. You'll know. It was the energy of secrecy that built your empire brick by silent brick. Validation is one of the most powerful traps in the modern world, silent cage that disguises itself as connection, approval, and love. It starts innocently. You share your progress, your opinions, your dreams, feel good when people applaud you. You post your ideas and measure your worth through hearts, likes, and comments. You tell your goals to others, hoping they'll see your vision the way you do. But slowly, without realizing it, you start to crave their response more than your own growth. You begin to depend on the applause to keep moving. You lose sight of the fact that your validation should come from within, not from the noise around you. The trap of validation is that it convinces you that being seen is more important than being effective, that being praised is more valuable than being productive, that looking successful is better than being successful. It's a dangerous illusion, one that kills authenticity and replaces purpose with performance. You start acting for the crowd, not for your calling. You become addicted to external confirmation instead of internal conviction. And once you fall into that cycle, you start to live not for progress, proof. The trap is subtle because validation feels good. It's comforting, it's warm, it's familiar. When someone acknowledges your work, it gives you a rush of confidence, a quick hit of satisfaction. But that feeling doesn't last. It's temporary, and like any temporary high, it fades. The problem begins when you start chasing that feeling instead of chasing your purpose. You start adjusting your goals to fit what others will approve of. You begin to measure your worth by their reactions instead of your results. You post your plans before you've even acted on them because you crave the recognition more than the achievement. Validation becomes your motivator. The moment it disappears, so does your drive. That's when you become a prisoner of other people's opinions. Constantly needing them to believe in you. Constantly fearing their disapproval. Constantly performing for applause that was never meant to sustain you. The more you seek validation, the more you lose your individuality. Trade your authenticity for acceptance, your uniqueness for approval, and your peace for popularity. But the truth is, validation is just noise. It never fills you, it only distracts you. Real confidence is quiet, it doesn't need witnesses. Real purpose doesn't demand applause, it demands action. When you truly believe in yourself, you stop needing people to clap for you, because you've already clapped for yourself in silence. You stop needing people to tell you that you're enough, because you know you already are. The trap of validation teaches you to seek external confirmation for something that only your inner self can define. Your full attention, you must learn to be so deeply rooted in your purpose that other people's opinions don't shake you, whether they praise you or doubt you. Their compliments shouldn't inflate you, and their criticism shouldn't break you. You are not here to please people. You are here to fulfill your potential. And potential doesn't grow under the weight of approval. It grows in the soil of authenticity. You must choose to free yourself from the addiction of being liked. Because the moment you stop needing validation, unstoppable, You no longer move to impress. You move to impact. You no longer work for attention. You work for alignment. Validation will always feel tempting because it promises belonging. But belonging built on approval is not real. It's fragile. The same crowd that praises you today can turn on you tomorrow. One mistake, one misstep, one moment of imperfection, and the applause fades. That's why you must never base your self-worth on the noise of the crowd. People are fickle. Their approval is conditional, their opinions ever changing. You rely on them for direction, you will spend your entire life spinning in circles, trying to please everyone and satisfying no one, not even yourself. Ground yourself in values that don't change with the weather. Discipline, integrity, vision, effort. Those are the foundations that keep you stable when the noise of validation rises and falls. When you stop seeking validation, something magical happens. You start living freely. You start creating from a place of truth instead of trend. You begin to make decisions that serve your growth, not your image. You take risks without worrying about who's watching. You learn to fail without fear, because you no longer tie your value to success or perfection. You begin to understand that true validation is internal. It comes from knowing that you gave your best, that you stayed true to your purpose, that you honored your journey even when no one else understood it. That kind of validation is permanent because it's built from integrity, not insecurity. You have to learn to walk alone without feeling lonely. You have to learn to trust your voice, even when it's the only one in the room. You have to learn to clap for yourself when no one else does. Because if you don't, you'll always be at the mercy of other people's opinions, constantly adjusting your course to chase their approval. That's no way to live. You can't build a legacy on permission. You can't reach greatness by constantly seeking reassurance. The strongest people aren't those who are celebrated. They're the ones who keep going after the celebration stops. They've mastered the art of internal validation. They draw power from their discipline, not from their audience. Validation also steals your authenticity because it teaches you to perform. You start posting what people want to see, saying what people want to hear, and doing what people expect. You lose your essence trying to maintain an image. Authenticity is magnetic. It attracts real opportunities, real people, real fulfillment. Validation is superficial. It attracts attention, envy, emptiness. Choose authenticity every time, even if it means fewer claps. The truth is, not being liked by everyone is a sign that you're living honestly. People pleasers rarely reach greatness because they spend too much energy being agreeable instead of being exceptional. If you want to stand out, you must be willing to stand alone. So stop announcing every move. Stop posting every step. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're on the right track. Move in silence and let your results speak. Every minute you spend explaining yourself is a minute taken away from execution. Every second spent refreshing for likes is a second lost in creation. The trap of validation doesn't just steal your peace. It steals your time, your creativity, and your focus. The moment you detach from it, you gain back control of your energy. You become dangerous in the best way possible, unbothered, independent, and driven purely by vision. And here's the truth, that many never learn. People respect results more than effort, silence more than noise, and confidence more than desperation. You don't seek validation, you make others seek your approval instead. The power dynamic shifts. Suddenly, your mystery becomes magnetic, calmness becomes intriguing, and your silence becomes authority. That's what internal validation creates. It makes you unshakable. stop chasing and start attracting. You stop performing and start producing. Validation is a prison built out of insecurity, and freedom begins the moment you realize you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to announce your worth. You need to embody it. You don't need to explain your choices. You need to live them. You don't need to show them your progress. You need to feel it. The loudest approval you'll ever hear comes from within. The voice that says, "Keep going. You're doing what you're meant to do." And when that voice becomes louder than the applause of others, you are finally free. So, silence the noise, turn inward, build your confidence quietly and your empire patiently. When you no longer need validation, you become unstoppable. Your motivation no longer depends on others, it flows from something eternal. Validation fades, purpose lasts. Approval is temporary, fulfillment is forever. The crowd may cheer for a moment, but your own belief in yourself will carry you for a lifetime. Don't let the noise of validation drown the sound of your destiny. Learn to move for yourself, by yourself, and because of yourself. And when your time comes, when your results finally speak, let them clap. But by then, you won't need it. You'll already know who you are. Focus is the new fame, because in a world where everyone wants to be seen, the rarest thing is someone who knows how to truly see one thing through. We live in an era of distraction, where attention is currency and noise is constant. People chase trends, validation, and visibility more than they chase excellence, mastery, or meaning. But real greatness doesn't live in the spotlight. It lives in the shadows of focus, the discipline of doing the same hard thing again and again when no one is watching. Fame today has been mistaken for impact, but the truth is, fame fades while focus builds forever. The people who make real noise in the world are not the ones who talk the most. They are the ones who disappear, concentrate, and return with results that speak volumes. Focus is not glamorous, it's lonely, it's repetitive, and it's quiet. That's exactly why it's powerful. Anyone can start, only the focused can finish. Anyone can talk, only the focused can deliver. Focus separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the distracted dreamer from the disciplined doer. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing it with obsession. It's the art of cutting out everything that doesn't serve your purpose, waking up and knowing that your energy is finite and choosing to invest it wisely. The world will constantly pull you in 1,000 directions. Messages, opinions, notifications, temptations, opportunities that look good but aren't right. But the focused mind sees through it all. Focused mind doesn't chase, it builds. It doesn't seek, it attracts. It doesn't announce, it acts. Focus is the discipline of saying no to the noise so you can say yes to the goal. When you commit to one thing fully, the universe starts aligning everything around that commitment. Doors open. Resources appear. Energy flows. But if your attention is scattered, your power is diluted. You can't build momentum when your mind is in 100 places at once. You can't create something meaningful when you're constantly distracted by meaningless things. Focus is the oxygen of success. And without it, the most talented suffocate in mediocrity. The world glorifies multitasking, but multitasking is the enemy of mastery. When your attention is divided, results are diluted. You cannot create something legendary by being halfway present. You cannot build something exceptional while checking your phone every 5 minutes. Every great artist, athlete, or leader you admire became great because they obsessed over one thing. They gave it their full attention, full energy, full heart. They didn't want to do everything, They wanted to do one thing with excellence. That's focus. Saying no to almost everything so that your yes has meaning. You can always tell who's going to win by what they're willing to ignore. Unfocused chase everything, the focused chase purpose. The unfocused want attention now, the focused want impact forever. Fame is fleeting, focus is freedom. Focus also reveals your priorities. You can tell what matters to someone by what they give their attention to. The mind is like a lens. Whatever you focus on, expands. If you focus on drama, you'll find more of it. If you focus on discipline, you'll grow stronger. If you focus on excuses, they'll multiply. Energy flows where attention goes, so if your attention is scattered, your life will be too. Can't expect clarity while entertaining confusion. You can't expect peace while feeding chaos. Every distraction comes with a cost. Currency you pay is time, your most valuable, non-refundable asset. The focused understand that. They treat attention like treasure. They don't waste it on temporary people, temporary pleasure, or temporary applause. They're not seduced by instant gratification because they're married to long-term vision. Focus is power because it turns effort into progress. Not about working harder, it's about working deeper. A focused hour is worth more than a distracted day. When you're focused, enter flow, time disappears, noise fades, and all that exists is the task in front of you. That's where creativity thrives. That's where excellence is born. That's where mastery is built. The distracted rarely experience that because they're always halfway somewhere else, checking out before they've truly begun. Focus is spiritual. It's a form of meditation in motion. It's the alignment of your thoughts, energy, purpose into one direction. It's choosing to be present, not perfect. Because perfection is an illusion, but focus creates progress. Progress creates power. To stay focused, you must also learn the art of detachment. Detachment from outcomes, opinions, and outside noise. You must learn to build quietly without constantly needing proof that it's working. The results will come. They always do when effort meets patience. But if you keep interrupting your process to check if it's growing, you slow the growth itself. Think of focus like planting a seed. Don't dig it up every day to see if it's sprouting. You water it, protect it, and trust it. Focus requires that same faith. It asks you to believe in your vision even when results are invisible, even when progress feels slow, even when the world doubts you. Because focus is not just about attention, it's about trust. Trust in the process, trust in your purpose, trust in yourself. But here's the hard truth. Focus will make you lonely. You'll lose friends who can't understand why you're not available. You'll lose invitations because you're busy building. You'll lose interest in things that once entertained you because you've outgrown distraction. And that's okay. That's the price of clarity. Focus demands isolation before it brings recognition. You can't master your craft while entertaining every call for attention. You can't become extraordinary while living like everyone else. If you want to shine in public, you have to suffer in private. If you want to be celebrated, you have to be disciplined. Focus is not glamorous, it's grind. It's repetition, it's sacrifice, it's saying no when yes would be easier. That's the path to greatness. The world celebrates the outcome, but forgets the focus it took to get there. Every success you admire is built on thousands of silent, unseen hours of focus. Fame today has become a substitute for fulfillment. Fame without focus is hollow. You can be famous for a moment and forgotten by morning. But focus builds legacy. It makes your work timeless. People who chase fame want to be seen. People who chase focus want to be remembered. Fame ends when the applause stops. Focus continues even in silence. Fame needs an audience. Focus needs a purpose. Which one are you chasing? If you spend your life trying to be known, you'll lose yourself trying to please everyone. But if you spend your life trying to master something, you'll eventually be known for it anyway. Focus first, fame follows. The irony of the modern world is that everyone wants to go viral, but no one wants to go deep. Everyone wants reach, want refinement. Everyone wants success, but few want solitude. Focus requires solitude. It's in the quiet moments, the long hours, the undistracted space that greatness is born. That's where breakthroughs happen, where creativity breathes, where strength is forged. You can't multitask your way to mastery. You can't scroll your way to success. You have to lock in, tune out, all to the moment in front of you. Focus is a statement. It tells the world, I'm not here to impress. I'm here to impact. It tells your distractions, you can't tempt me. It tells your purpose, you can trust me. Because the focused don't just chase goals, they become them. Their habits, their mindset, their environment all align with their vision. They eliminate what doesn't serve them because they understand that energy is limited and attention is sacred. Every no to distraction is a yes to destiny. So, if you want to win in this noisy, distracted world, trying to be famous and start learning to be focused. Fame is a flash, focus is a flame. The flash excites, but the flame endures. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be effective where you are. You don't need to impress everyone. You need to become undeniable to yourself. Let them chase followers, you chase focus. Let them post for attention, you prepare for mastery. Because one day, when the noise dies down and the spotlight shifts, the only ones still standing will be those who stayed focused when everyone else was distracted. Focus is not the new fame because it's trendy. It's the new fame because it's timeless. It's the one thing that guarantees results in any era, any industry, any dream. So lock in, tune out, and remember this: when you master focus, you won't have to chase fame. Fame will find you, quietly, naturally, and permanently. Because nothing shines brighter than someone who gave their entire soul to one thing, became impossible to ignore. Protecting your energy is one of the highest forms of self-respect, because energy is the essence of who you are, the invisible currency that powers every decision, every conversation, every dream. The way you spend your energy defines the life you build. If you're not careful, people, habits, and distractions will drain it without mercy. The world is full of noise, full of takers, full of invisible leaks that slowly pull away your focus, your peace, and your strength until you're left wondering why you feel so tired even when you've done so little. That's not because you lack time. It's because you've allowed your energy to be stolen by things that don't matter. Protecting your energy means understanding that not everyone deserves your attention. Not every battle deserves your response. Every opportunity deserves your effort. It's learning to withdraw from chaos, to walk away from arguments that lead nowhere, to stay silent when you could speak. But peace means more than proving a point. It's realizing that the quality of your life is not determined by how much you do, but by how intentionally you protect the space that fuels your doing. World obsessed with productivity, people forget that energy is the foundation of all productivity. You can have the best plans, the biggest dreams, and the clearest goals, but if your energy is scattered, none of it will matter. You can't pour from an empty cup. Yet so many people keep giving, giving, giving until they have nothing left for themselves. They confuse being busy with being valuable, being available with being kind, accommodating with being strong. But real strength lies in boundaries. Protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. It's the quiet understanding that if you don't guard your space, someone else will fill it for you with their chaos, their insecurities, and their noise. Every interaction either adds to or subtracts from your energy, and if you don't start noticing the difference, you'll keep wondering why your motivation comes and goes like a tide. Energy protection starts with awareness, knowing who drains you, what distracts you, where you lose yourself. Some people drain your energy without saying a word. Their presence alone feels heavy because they live in a frequency of negativity. Some environments drain your energy because they're built on competition instead of collaboration, noise instead of growth. Even your own thoughts can drain your energy when they're rooted in worry, comparison, or self-doubt. Protecting your energy means you stop giving life to those thoughts. You stop entertaining fear-based stories in your mind. You stop replaying failures that already taught you what they needed to. You stop letting the external world define your internal peace. When your energy is grounded, you become untouchable. Not because the world gets quieter, because you stop giving it permission to disturb your frequency. Your energy is your signal to the universe. When it's pure, you attract peace. When it's chaotic, you attract confusion. That's why protecting it is not just emotional, it's spiritual. The world responds to what you radiate. If you're constantly drained, you'll only pull in more situations that drain you. Protecting your energy means aligning with what feeds your soul. Silence, solitude, nature, purpose, passion. It means spending more time with people who light you up instead of those who burn you out. Saying no, not out of anger, but out of wisdom. It means canceling plans when your soul needs rest. Not explaining yourself endlessly to people who wouldn't do the same for you. It means recognizing that your peace is priceless, and no amount of validation, approval, or connection is worth losing it for. You must become unapologetic about your boundaries, because boundaries are not walls. They're filters. They don't shut people out. They keep your energy pure enough to give your best self to the right people. Protecting your energy also means protecting your time. Time and energy are twins. You can't waste one without draining the other. Every hour you spend on gossip, meaningless scrolling, or pleasing people who don't care about you is energy you'll never get back. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your purpose, you're saying no to something that does. The more you focus your energy on what matters, the more powerful you become. That's why high-energy people are not necessarily the most hyperactive. They're the most intentional. They know when to engage and when to retreat. They know when to push forward and when to recharge. They treat rest as strategy, not laziness, because they understand that rest is not the opposite of work. It's the fuel for it. Protecting your energy means giving yourself permission to pause, unplug, to step back, to breathe. You don't have to earn rest. You deserve it simply because you exist. When you protect your energy, stop reacting to everything. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop matching the chaos of others. Start mastering your peace. You realize that silence is not weakness. It's control. That walking away is not losing. It's winning yourself back. That peace is not the absence of noise. It's the ability to stay calm inside it. You begin to realize that your energy introduces you before you speak. People can feel it when you're at peace. They can sense it when you're grounded. They can see it when you've detached from the need to fight every battle. And when you master that energy, you start attracting better things effortlessly. The right opportunities, the right people, the right moments. They all flow toward a centered soul. Protecting your energy also means protecting your environment. You can't grow in soil that suffocates you. If your surroundings are filled with negativity, gossip, or constant distraction, your energy will always be in defense mode instead of creation mode. Clean your space, clean your digital life, your social circle. Make room for clarity. Simplicity is energy protection. The less clutter around you, the clearer your mind becomes. The less noise you consume, the sharper your intuition grows. You begin to hear your inner voice again. The one that knows what you need, where you belong, and what you must do next. You can't hear that voice in chaos. You have to create stillness for it to speak. One of the hardest lessons in protecting your energy is understanding that not everyone deserves access to you. Some people are only meant to be part of your story for a chapter, not the entire book. The more you evolve, the more selective you must become, not out of pride, but out of protection. You can't invite everyone to your peace. Some people feed on drama, and peace suffocates them. When you start growing, they'll call you distant, selfish, or cold. Let them. You're not obligated to stay in spaces that drain you just to prove you're loyal. You owe loyalty to your peace first. Protecting your energy sometimes means disappointing others to honor yourself, and that's okay. Growth often looks like solitude before it looks like success. Energy protection also means emotional maturity. You stop letting emotions control you, start observing them. You stop reacting impulsively to negativity and start responding strategically. You learn that not every comment deserves an answer. Not every insult deserves attention. Not every problem deserves your panic. You begin to master emotional detachment, not because you don't care, but because you care about your peace more. You realize that your emotions are signals, not commands. They tell you what to pay attention to, not what to obey. Protecting your energy is mastering this awareness. It's the art of holding your power when everything around you tries to take it. The deeper you go into this mastery, the more you realize how sacred your energy is. It's the unseen force that creates your reality. Every thought, every action, every word is an energetic transaction. What you give out comes back multiplied. So protect your energy like a sacred investment. Don't waste it on gossip, spend it on growth. Don't waste it on resentment, spend it on forgiveness. Don't waste it on noise, spend it on silence. The energy you give is the energy you live in, and you can't live a peaceful life if your energy is chaotic. Protect it. Guard it. Cherish it, because when your energy is right, everything else falls into place. Your focus sharpens, your creativity flows, your relationships improve, purpose becomes clearer. In the end, protecting your energy is about choosing peace over noise, presence over performance, purpose over distraction, about living deliberately, not reactively. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time, attention, or emotional space. You owe yourself alignment. You owe yourself clarity. You owe yourself the kind of energy that sustains your spirit instead of draining it. Move through the world softly but powerfully, quietly but intentionally. Guard your peace like it's your empire, because it is. When you master the art of protecting your energy, you stop fighting for control, and you start living from it. You become untouchable, unstoppable, and unshakable, not because life gets easier, but because your energy becomes stronger than anything trying to disturb it. And that is the ultimate power. Walk through chaos with peace still glowing inside you. Solitude is not loneliness, it's alignment. It's the sacred space between noise and clarity, chaos and creation, between who you were and who you are becoming. In solitude, you meet yourself without distraction, without disguise, without the performance that the world demands of you. It's in the quiet that your soul finally speaks. And it's only when you stop running from that silence that you begin to hear what it's been trying to tell you all along. Most people fear solitude because they've confused it with isolation. Solitude isn't the absence of connection, it's the presence of self-awareness. It's the deep, undisturbed conversation between your spirit and your truth. In a world addicted to stimulation, solitude has become a forgotten art. We scroll to escape silence, talk to avoid reflection, and surround ourselves with noise so we don't have to face the echo of our own thoughts. The truth is, every great transformation, every profound awakening, every lasting success is born in solitude. Solitude is where clarity grows. Solitude is where purpose whispers. Solitude is where strength is rebuilt after the world has broken you down. The power of solitude lies in its ability to strip away illusion. When you are alone, there's nowhere to hide. You can't distract yourself with others' opinions or lose yourself in external validation. Solitude exposes your fears, your desires, your weaknesses, potential all at once. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. That confrontation is not comfortable, it's necessary. Because growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in confrontation. Solitude is the mirror that reflects who you truly are when no one's watching, and until you learn to love and accept that version of yourself, no amount of external approval will ever be enough. When you sit in solitude long enough, begin to realize how much of your life has been lived for others. You notice how much energy you've spent trying to be understood, accepted, or admired. And in that realization comes liberation, the freedom to live for yourself, to move in alignment with your truth, not in compliance with expectation. Solitude is also the birthplace of creativity. Every artist, thinker, and visionary who changed the world learned to retreat into silence to hear ideas that the noise of society would have drowned out. Solitude is where the mind becomes still enough to connect with inspiration, where thoughts slow down long enough for new ones to emerge. In solitude, creativity isn't forced, it flows. Because when you're alone, you're not performing, you're creating from authenticity, not approval. You're not chasing trends, you're expressing truth. Solitude gives you the space to build without distraction, to refine your craft, plan your next move quietly while the rest of the world is lost in noise. You don't need to announce your process, you just need to honor it. Greatest masterpieces are not born in crowds. They're born in the quiet corners where focus meets intention. Solitude is the studio of the soul, but solitude isn't only about creating, it's also about healing. There are wounds that only silence can reach, scars that only solitude can soothe. When you spend time alone, you give yourself the chance to process the emotions you've suppressed. You stop running from your pain and start learning from it. You begin to understand that healing isn't about forgetting, it's about understanding. Solitude teaches you how to hold yourself gently when life has been rough with you. It reminds you that peace doesn't come from escaping the storm, but from learning how to be calm in the middle of it. When you learn to be still, the world stops controlling you. You start controlling your response to it. That's the quiet power of solitude. It re-centers you. It reminds you that you are the calm in the chaos, not the chaos itself. In solitude, you rediscover your intuition, that quiet voice inside that always knows what's right for you, but often gets drowned out by the opinions of others. When you stop seeking external advice for every decision, you begin to trust your own wisdom. You realize that intuition is not mystical memory, the memory of your deepest knowing. Solitude sharpens it. When you spend time alone, your decisions become clearer, your boundaries stronger, direction more defined. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You begin to understand that solitude doesn't isolate you from the world. It strengthens you for it. The more time you spend in your own company, the less dependent you become on the company of others for validation. That independence is power. It's not arrogance, it's assurance, knowing that you can walk alone and still feel whole. People who fear solitude are usually running from themselves. They confuse constant connection with fulfillment, but they're just avoiding introspection. Solitude reveals the truth that most people aren't actually lonely. They're disconnected from themselves. You can be surrounded by people and still feel empty if you're not in tune with your own spirit. You can be completely alone and feel full when you're aligned with your purpose. That's the paradox of solitude. The more you embrace it, the less lonely you become. Because loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of self-connection. When you know who you are, you're never truly alone. Solitude is the space where that knowing deepens. To harness the power of solitude, you must make it a practice, not an accident. You must carve out time deliberately for silence, for reflection, for being still. Wake up early before the world starts demanding pieces of you. Off the noise. Sit with your thoughts. Journal. Meditate. Walk without your phone. Breathe. Let your mind settle like water until clarity rises from the bottom. These small moments of solitude are where big clarity is born. In a distracted world, solitude becomes your competitive advantage. Because while others are reacting, you're reflecting. While they're chasing noise, you're building peace. While they're scattered, you're centered. And when you return from solitude, you come back sharper, wiser, more intentional. You move differently. Think differently, because solitude refines your energy. But solitude will test you. It will show you your patterns. It will show you how much you've relied on noise to feel alive. Will show you how uncomfortable stillness can be when you've built your identity around movement. That discomfort is not punishment. It's purification. It's your soul detoxing from distractions. Don't run from it, sit with it. The longer you sit in silence, the more comfortable you become in your own presence. That's where the shift happens, from seeking peace externally to generating it internally. The more you learn to be content in your own company, the stronger you become in the company of others. Because now you're no longer needy. You're complete. You don't enter relationships to fill a void. You enter them to share overflow. You don't seek company to escape solitude, you choose it from abundance. That's emotional maturity born from stillness. Solitude also teaches you patience. When you're alone with your journey, you learn that growth cannot be rushed. You realize that timing is divine, that everything unfolds when it's meant to. Solitude gives you space to observe the seasons of your life without forcing them. It teaches you that winter is necessary for spring, that silence is necessary for sound, that emptiness is necessary for fullness. It humbles you and empowers you at the same time. You begin to understand that solitude is not something to endure, it's something to embrace. Because solitude is not the end of connection, it's the preparation for it. The more time you spend alone, the more intentional you become about the connections you make. You stop settling for shallow relationships because solitude has taught you the value of depth. In solitude, you learn that peace is not found. It's built. You build it by letting go of what disturbs it. You build it by refusing to let the world dictate your mood. You build it by being so grounded in your inner world that the external world loses its power to shake you. That's why solitude is strength. It teaches you to rely on your own energy, to find stability within yourself, to stop seeking external anchors. When you master solitude, you become unshakable. Because no matter what leaves, no matter what changes, you remain whole. You carry your peace with you, not because life is easy, but because you've built it from the inside out. So don't fear solitude, seek it. Don't fill every silence, feel it. Don't mistake stillness for stagnation. It's transformation happening quietly. The world will tell you that you need to be seen, connected, busy, validated, but the truth is, you only need to be aligned. Solitude aligns you. It strips away the unnecessary, strengthens the essential, and brings you back home, to yourself. The power of solitude is not in what it gives you, but in what it takes away: distraction, dependency, and doubt. In solitude that you remember who you are, what you stand for, and what you're capable of. When you learn to love your own company, stop chasing things that make you forget yourself, you become whole, focused, peaceful, and powerful. When you return to the world from that sacred stillness, you don't return to seek acceptance. You return to lead, to create, to elevate. Because solitude doesn't separate you from the world. It prepares you to rise above it. The art of moving in silence is the discipline of power disguised as peace. It is the calm execution of purpose without the noise of explanation. The mastery of self that requires no audience to validate it. In a generation obsessed with exposure, where everyone is broadcasting every step, thought, every dream, the one who learns to move quietly becomes the most unpredictable, the most dangerous, and the most free. Silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the recognition that your goals lose power the moment they are spoken to the wrong ears. The more you talk about what you're going to do, the more you dilute the energy that could have been used to actually do it. Talking feeds the ego, silence feeds the result. The art of moving in silence is about choosing progress over publicity, purpose over popularity, and results over recognition, your full attention. It's about learning that you don't need to announce your grind when your results will one day speak in volumes your words never could. When you move in silence, you create mystery, and mystery is magnetic. People are drawn to what they cannot predict or control. The more quietly you move, the harder it is for others to interfere, imitate, or sabotage your process. Silence is a form of armor. When you reveal less, you protect more. Your plans, your peace, your focus. Not everyone who listens wants to see you win. Not every smile hides good intentions. Some people feed on your energy, feed on your information. The moment you speak too soon, you hand them ammunition. They will doubt you, distract you, or even copy you. But when you move in silence, they can't interfere with what they don't understand. They can't stop what they can't see coming. The less you reveal, the more control you retain. Silence isn't about secrecy, it's about strategy. It's about letting your success make the noise when it's time, not your insecurities making it before it's ready. Moving in silence also demands emotional control. Most people announce their every move out of excitement, fear, or validation. They talk because they crave reassurance. They want someone to confirm they're on the right path. But that craving exposes weakness. It reveals your need for approval. The strong don't seek confirmation, they trust their conviction. They understand that real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to be broadcasted, not spoken. When you move in silence, you remove the external noise that could sway your direction. You become your own compass. You stop explaining yourself, defending your choices, and seeking permission. You act with certainty, knowing that every step you take in silence is a step toward mastery. You learn to smile privately at your progress, to celebrate quietly, let the world see the glow but never the grind. The art of moving in silence is not just about what you hide, it's about what you protect. Your energy, your plans, your dreams are sacred. Every time you speak them prematurely, you expose them to the opinions and projections of others. People will project their fears, their limitations, their disbelief onto your vision. They'll tell you what can't be done because they couldn't do it themselves. That's why silence is a filter. It keeps your energy pure. You don't need to explain your dreams to small minds. They wouldn't fit there anyway. Protect your process like a seed. A seed doesn't grow because it's exposed. It grows because it's buried. It doesn't shout to the soil about what it's becoming. It simply becomes. When it finally breaks through, the world can't deny it. Your growth should follow the same principle. Be buried in your work. Be silent in your effort. Let your emergence be the only announcement you ever make. Silence also teaches you patience. It keeps you grounded when ego tempts you to show off. It teaches you to value delayed gratification, the art of waiting for the right moment instead of chasing attention now. Moving in silence forces you to focus on the internal reward of progress, not the external reward of praise. Shifts your attention from being seen doing it to actually doing it. The difference is massive. The person who moves loudly wants to be validated. The person who moves silently wants to be effective. The loud are distracted by eyes. The silent are devoted to execution. And over time, the results of the silent always overshadow the noise of the loud. Because silence builds consistency. Consistency builds credibility. Silence is also discipline. It takes strength to hold your tongue when you want to be heard, to stay focused when others flaunt their progress, to keep building when no one notices. But that discipline creates depth. The more you learn to move quietly, the more substance you develop. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone. You become immune to comparison because you understand that your journey is sacred and cannot be rushed. The loud move to impress, the silent move to improve. The loud chase recognition, the silent chase mastery. And mastery, once achieved, doesn't need to shout, it's self-evident. In silence, you learn to listen. To yourself, to your intuition, to the subtle signals life gives you. You start recognizing the difference between movement and progress, between attention and alignment. Silence sharpens awareness. It gives you the clarity to adjust your path, the sensitivity to detect fake energy, the foresight to anticipate obstacles before they appear. When you're constantly talking, you can't hear the wisdom that silence holds. Every moment you spend defending your path is a moment stolen from walking it. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers. It's in the quiet moments that your vision expands, your creativity ignites, your decisions solidify. The loud are too busy speaking to hear what the universe is whispering. The silent, however, are guided. The art of moving in silence also strengthens your relationships. When you're selective about what you share, you attract people who respect boundaries, not those who feed on information. You learn who's genuinely aligned with you and who's just curious. You realize that not everyone deserves access to your next move, and those who demand it often fear being left behind. The right people don't need constant updates. They trust your direction. The wrong people require constant explanation because they're not meant to walk with you. Silence becomes the great separator. It exposes who's with you for the journey and who's with you for the gossip. Moving in silence is also a spiritual practice. It's the ability to detach from the world's expectations and move in alignment with divine timing. When you stop broadcasting your plans, you give space for them to manifest freely. You remove interference. You give God, or the universe, room to work. Silence creates energetic protection. When you constantly talk about your goals, you allow external energy, doubt, envy, fear, to penetrate your field. When you stay silent, your energy stays intact, focused, uncorrupted. You don't owe anyone your process. You owe yourself the peace to complete it. Here's the paradox: the quieter you move, the louder your impact becomes. Because people can't resist noticing what they can't figure out. They see your growth, your calm confidence, your results, and they wonder how you did it. But by then, it's too late for them to catch up, because while they were talking, you were transforming. Moving in silence is how you win before the world even knows you're playing. It's how you build momentum in private so that when you step into the light, you're unstoppable. You've already done the work. You don't need to prove it. You simply are it. To master the art of moving in silence, you must become comfortable with invisibility. You must learn to find satisfaction in progress that only you can see. You must learn to trust the unseen, to believe in your path even when no one else understands it. You must fall in love with the process more than the praise. You must become addicted to the quiet grind, the late nights, the early mornings, the hidden sacrifices, the silent victories. Because one day, all those invisible efforts will manifest visibly, and the same world that doubted you will ask how you did it. And you'll smile, knowing they wouldn't understand even if you told them. So, move quietly. Build privately. Protect your vision like a secret between you and destiny. Underestimate you. It's a strategy. Let them think you've slowed down. It's misdirection. Let them forget your name. It's preparation. When you move in silence, you hold the power of surprise, the element of mystery, the advantage of focus. You become unpredictable, unstoppable, unbothered. Your silence becomes your strength. Your calm becomes your weapon. Your results become your response. The loud make announcements, the silent make moves. And in the end, the world doesn't remember who talked the most. It remembers who delivered the most. That's the art of moving in silence. Let your success speak so loudly that it drowns out every word you never had to say. Self-discipline is the bridge between intention and execution, between dreams and reality, between who you are and who you are destined to become. It is the silent force that separates the average from the exceptional, the talkers from the doers, the wishers from the winners. Mastering self-discipline means mastering yourself. Your impulses, your distractions, your moods, your excuses. It's not a punishment but a power, not a restriction but a release, because discipline doesn't confine you. It frees you from the prison of inconsistency. Most people lose because they cannot control themselves. They crave success but surrender to comfort. They set goals with fire at night and wake up cold by morning. They promise change but obey laziness. But those who master discipline, those who choose consistency over convenience, those who choose progress over pleasure, they are the ones who quietly build empires while others talk about trying. Tefti, self-discipline is not about doing what you love every day. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Feelings are temporary, purpose is permanent. The disciplined understand that motivation fades, discipline endures. It is the muscle you train daily until doing the hard thing becomes your default nature. To master self-discipline, you must first master the mind. The mind is the battlefield where all wars of success are won or lost. Your mind will whisper comfort when you need to chase discomfort. It will tempt you with rest when you should be in motion. It will lie to you, telling you that you have time, that you can start tomorrow. Discipline silences that voice with action. Discipline says, no, now. You cannot negotiate with weakness. You cannot reason with procrastination. You must dominate it through structure, routine, and consistency. Discipline is not emotional, it's mechanical. It's not about feeling like it. It's about doing it regardless. When you stop depending on motivation and start depending on structure, you transcend the fragile state of willpower and enter the realm of mastery. Every repetition, every early morning, every small promise you keep to yourself strengthens that internal muscle. And over time, that muscle becomes unbreakable. Self-discipline begins with small choices. The alarm you don't snooze, the workout you don't skip, the meal you don't indulge in, the time you don't waste. Each of these moments seems insignificant, but collectively they form your destiny. Discipline is built in the moments no one sees. The world claps for results, but the results are born in the shadows of consistency. Discipline is when you do what others won't so you can live how others can't. It's the relentless commitment to your standard, even when no one's watching. And that's the hardest part, holding yourself accountable in silence. But if you can't lead yourself, you'll never lead anything else. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the most talented, they're the most disciplined. They don't rely on hype, they rely on habits. While others sleep, they work. While others talk, they execute. While others give excuses, they give effort. Discipline is their language. But here's the truth. Discipline is not built in comfort, forged in struggle. You will not become disciplined in an easy life. You must face resistance because resistance builds strength. The moment you feel discomfort, that's where discipline is tested. When you want to quit, when your body says no, your mind screams for ease. Discipline steps in and says, we keep going. Every time you override that inner weakness, you rewire your brain for greatness. You become unstoppable, because the hardest person to defeat is the one who doesn't surrender to emotion. Discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will fail, but the disciplined never stay down. They rise faster because they've trained their mind to act, not react. They understand that failure is not final, quitting is. Discipline doesn't quit, it adapts, it adjusts, it endures. Discipline is also about saying no, not just to bad habits, but to good distractions. Because the enemy of great is not failure, it's distraction. The world today is engineered to steal your focus: endless scrolling, meaningless conversations, temporary pleasures. Each one chips away at your attention, leaving you unfocused and frustrated. The disciplined protect their focus like treasure. They don't chase every notification, they chase purpose. They schedule their day, guard their time, and control their environment. They understand that discipline is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters consistently. You cannot master self-discipline if you are enslaved by your phone, your urges, or your comfort zone. No. You say to distraction is a yes to your destiny. And that's what discipline really is, the daily decision to choose your higher self over your current comfort. Self-discipline also means keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and don't, you weaken your self-trust. You teach your subconscious that your words don't matter. Every time you keep a promise, even a small one, you strengthen your self-image. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone dependable, someone powerful. That identity fuels your consistency. Discipline starts as an action but becomes an identity. When being disciplined becomes who you are, you no longer need to force it. It flows naturally. You begin to crave structure, to find satisfaction in routine, to feel uneasy in laziness. That's when you know discipline has become part of your DNA. There's also a spiritual side to discipline. Discipline is devotion. It's the daily act of honoring your potential. It's worship through action. It's gratitude through effort. Every disciplined act says, I respect the gift of my life enough not to waste it. When you choose discipline, you align with purpose. You become the vessel through which your potential expresses itself. Laziness, procrastination, consistency, they're not just bad habits, they're forms of disrespect toward your own potential. Discipline is how you show respect. It's how you say to the universe, I'm ready. And when you're ready consistently, opportunities align. Discipline doesn't attract luck, it creates it. Many misunderstand discipline as suffering, but it's actually self-love in its highest form. Because when you discipline yourself, you're protecting your future from your present impulses. You're saying, I love myself enough to do what's necessary, not just what's easy. You're delaying gratification not because you're deprived, but because you're building something bigger. Discipline is the highest expression of self-respect. It's telling yourself that your goals matter more than your excuses, that your growth matters more than your comfort, that your vision deserves your best effort every day. To master self-discipline, you must build systems, not rely on emotion. Set specific times for what matters. Create routines that remove decision fatigue. The more you automate, the less you negotiate. Wake up and do the same powerful habits daily until they become instinct. Consistency compounds. Discipline is not intensity for a week. It's consistency for years. Anyone can be motivated for a moment. The disciplined stay consistent through seasons. When tired, they build when bored. They show up when unseen. That's the secret. The consistency no one applauds, but everyone respects when results appear. But remember, discipline without direction is burnout. You must align your discipline with purpose. You're not meant to just work hard. You're meant to work intentionally. When you have a why, discipline becomes easier. When your purpose is strong, excuses become weak. That's why clarity precedes consistency. Know what you're working for, and your effort will multiply. Discipline fueled by purpose becomes unstoppable because it's no longer forced. It's driven by meaning. Beauty of mastering self-discipline is that it transforms every part of your life. You eat better, think clearer, earn more, love deeper, with intention. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop drifting and start directing. You become the sculptor of your destiny, shaping it day by disciplined day. The undisciplined are tossed by life. The disciplined steer it. Discipline is freedom because it gives you control. control of your time, your mind, your emotions, your destiny. So, if you want to change your life, look for motivation, build discipline. Start small, stay consistent, and never negotiate your standards. Make your habits your allies, your structure be your sanctuary. Every day, when comfort calls, choose progress instead. Every morning, when excuses whisper, choose purpose. Every night, when tiredness tempts you, choose one more step. Because in the end, discipline is not something you do. It's someone you become. And when you master self-discipline, you no longer chase success, you attract it. Because you've become the type of person who cannot lose. Not because the world makes it easy, but because you refuse to make it optional. That's the quiet glory of discipline, the invisible strength that turns ordinary humans into unstoppable forces. Discipline is destiny in motion, unseen, unfazed, unbreakable. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it's survival. It's the sacred art of maintaining your peace in a world built to drain it. Your energy is your currency. It determines your focus, your creativity, your mood, and your momentum. If you give it away freely to negativity, chaos, and distraction, you'll always end your days bankrupt. Exhausted but unfulfilled, busy but unproductive, surrounded by noise but empty within. Protecting your energy means understanding that not everyone deserves your time. Not every situation deserves your attention. Every battle deserves your reaction. You must learn to treat your energy like treasure. Rare, valuable, and limited. Because it is. Every conversation, every scroll, every argument, every environment either feeds your energy or steals it. The disciplined understand this truth deeply. They move selectively, speak intentionally, and engage purposefully. Protecting your energy is how you preserve your power. It's how you maintain clarity in confusion, peace in chaos, and focus in distraction. It's not about isolation, it's about filtration, filtering what deserves your access and what does not. The first step in protecting your energy is awareness. Knowing what drains you and what fuels you. Most people live unconsciously, leaking energy without even realizing it. They say yes when they mean no. They scroll endlessly, comparing themselves to people who don't matter. Toxic relationships out of habit, not alignment. They entertain drama, gossip, negativity disguised as staying informed. And then they wonder why they feel tired, uninspired, and restless. Energy doesn't disappear, it's transferred. Every interaction is an exchange. So, ask yourself daily, who or what is taking from me, or what is giving to me? Energy protection begins with that question. Once you identify the leaks, you can begin to seal them. Protecting your energy means setting boundaries that protect your peace, not just your time. It's refusing to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. It's walking away from conversations that go nowhere. It's declining invitations that don't align with your direction. It's not selfish to choose peace. It's strategic. Boundaries are the guardrails of your energy. Without them, your life becomes a playground for other people's chaos. The undisciplined feel guilty for setting boundaries, but the wise know it's a form of self-respect. Saying no is not rejection, it's redirection, protecting your focus for the things that matter most. Every no to distraction is a yes to your destiny. Boundaries are how you tell the world, my energy is valuable. Not everyone gets access. They are not walls built from fear, but gates built from wisdom. You decide who enters and who doesn't. The most peaceful people are not those who live without problems. They're those who refuse to let everyone bring their problems into their space. When you master boundaries, you master energy flow. You begin to notice that not every emergency requires your presence, not every message requires a reply, every noise deserves a reaction. Silence becomes your response, and distance becomes your protection. Protecting your energy also means protecting your environment. You cannot thrive in a space filled with chaos. Energy is contagious. Spend too much time around negative people, and you'll start to think negative thoughts. Surround yourself with dreamers. Vision expands. You become what you consume, energetically, mentally, emotionally. So curate your environment carefully. Choose the books, the music, the conversations, and the people that elevate your vibration. Protect your physical space as fiercely as you protect your mental space. Environment creates a cluttered mind. Simplify, clean, organize. Create spaces that inspire focus, not fatigue. Energy flows where order lives. Environment should reflect your goals, not distract from them. Protecting your energy also requires emotional discipline. The moment you react to everything, you lose control of your peace. Not every comment deserves your attention. Not every insult needs a reply. Sometimes silence is the loudest statement. People will try to trigger you, to pull you into their chaos, to make you dance to their drama. But when you protect your energy, you realize that your reaction is your power. The calmer you are, the stronger you become. Don't let emotional manipulators rent space in your mind for free. Emotional discipline is the fortress of peace. It's the ability to remain centered when everything around you is pulling for a reaction. When you stay grounded, others lose control of you. That's how you win quietly. By mastering response over reaction, protecting your energy also means understanding your limits. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Constantly giving without recharging leads to burnout, resentment, and emotional exhaustion. Self-care is not indulgence, it's maintenance. Rest is not laziness, it's preparation. Protect your energy by honoring your need for solitude, reflection, and recovery. Unplug often, sit in silence, breathe deeply, reconnect with yourself. World glorifies hustle but neglects healing. But if you don't pause to restore your energy, your productivity will collapse under exhaustion. Protect your peace as passionately as you chase your goals. Because without peace, success feels hollow. Protecting your energy is about balance. Knowing when to push and when to pause, when to engage and when to withdraw, when to speak and when to stay silent, must also protect your energy from your own thoughts. Sometimes the greatest thief of your energy isn't the world, it's your mind. Overthinking, self-doubt, regret, and fear drain you faster than any external force. Discipline your mind to focus on what you can control and release what you cannot. Don't replay old failures in your head. They no longer exist. Don't worry about future problems that haven't happened yet. They're illusions. Protect your energy by living in the present. Train your mind to see challenges as lessons, not losses. Speak power into your life, not pessimism. Energy follows your focus, so guard your focus fiercely. Replace "what if it goes wrong" with "what if it goes right." Protecting your energy means protecting your mindset, because your reality flows from it. Protecting your energy is also about detachment. Learn to detach from outcomes, people, and circumstances that are beyond your control. Attachment drains you, detachment frees you. The more you cling to how things should be, the more you suffer. Let life flow. Trust timing, trust endings. Protect your energy by not forcing what's not aligned. Let people go if they disturb your peace. Let opportunities pass if they compromise your integrity. Sometimes rejection is protection, and letting go is healing. Protecting your energy means trusting that what's meant for you won't require you to destroy yourself to keep it. To protect your energy long-term, cultivate habits that replenish it daily. Start your mornings intentionally. Don't reach for your phone, reach for stillness. Move your body, your mind, center your spirit. Throughout the day, check in with your energy. If something feels heavy, ask why. If someone drains you, observe how. Awareness is the foundation of protection. End your day with gratitude. It's the ultimate energy cleanser. Gratitude shifts your vibration from lack to abundance, from exhaustion to renewal. Protecting your energy isn't just about defense, it's about alignment. When your energy aligns with gratitude, peace, and purpose, attract what resonates and repel what drains. Understand that protecting your energy will offend people. The moment you start setting boundaries, distancing from negativity, and saying no to nonsense, some will call you selfish, cold, or distant. Let them. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will always label your peace as arrogance. Don't explain yourself. Protecting your energy is not about pleasing others. It's about preserving yourself. You're not obligated to be available to everyone. You're obligated to be loyal to your peace. When you protect your energy, become more powerful because your actions are no longer reactive. They're intentional. Your energy becomes focused, your decisions clearer, life lighter. The truth is, energy is everything. It's the invisible language you speak before words, the force that draws or repels opportunities, vibration that shapes your reality. Protecting it is not optional. It's essential. When your energy is pure, you move differently. You attract clarity, creativity, and calm. You stop chasing and start magnetizing. You stop fighting and start flowing. Protecting your energy is how you step into alignment with your higher self. The version of you that is focused, grounded, and unstoppable. So, guard your energy like a sacred flame. Don't let gossip blow it out. Don't let fear dim it. Don't let distractions weaken it. Feed it with purpose and peace. Let silence recharge it. Let solitude refine it. Let gratitude expand it. Because your energy is your greatest asset, it determines your altitude. Protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. The quality of your life will always mirror the quality of your energy. When you protect your energy, you protect your destiny. Move through life with serenity in chaos, focus in distraction, and strength in storms. That's not arrogance, that's mastery. The world doesn't need your constant availability, it needs your consistent alignment. And when your energy is protected, your purpose becomes unstoppable, your mind becomes unshakable, and your peace becomes permanent. Patience is not the absence of movement, it is the art of steady progress. Strength wrapped in stillness, power disguised as calm, faith tested through time. In a world addicted to speed, where everyone wants results overnight, patience has become a lost virtue, yet it remains the most powerful weapon in the hands of those who understand its rhythm. Patience is not waiting idly, it is waiting with purpose. It is trusting the process when nothing seems to be happening, believing in growth, even when it's invisible, and moving forward with grace, when the world screams for haste. The impatient chase outcomes and burn out halfway. The patient build foundations and stand for a lifetime. Patience is what turns ordinary people into legends because it gives time for wisdom to settle, skill to mature, and destiny to unfold at its perfect pace. Every great achievement, every lasting transformation, every real success story has one common ingredient: patience, because nothing great is built in a rush. The tree that bears fruit must first survive the seasons of silence. The diamond that shines must first endure pressure and darkness. The strongest souls are not those who move the fastest, but those who wait the longest without losing faith. To understand the beauty of patience, you must first understand the illusion of urgency. We are taught from birth to rush. Rush to grow, rush to win, rush to prove, rush to arrive. In that rush, we forget that growth is not a race, it's a rhythm. The universe doesn't rush, yet everything unfolds exactly as it should. The sun rises without alarm, the tide shifts without panic, and the seasons change without haste. Nature is patient because it knows timing is divine. When you align yourself with that truth, you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with them. You stop chasing time and start mastering it. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing, it means doing what you can and trusting what you can't. It's the balance between effort and surrender. It's the grace to keep watering seeds that haven't yet sprouted, knowing that roots grow before leaves appear. The impatient dig up their seeds to see if they're growing. The patient trust the unseen work happening beneath the soil. Patience is also the proof of faith. Anyone can believe when things are visible, but true faith is built in the waiting, when there's no evidence, applause, no signs. Patience is when your heart whispers, "Keep going," while your mind screams, "Give up." It's that quiet endurance that separates those who wish from those who win. The impatient want control, the patient trust timing. You cannot force what is meant to unfold. The moment you try to rush destiny, you invite frustration. Impatience blinds you to the lessons meant for the present. Every delay carries wisdom, every pause has purpose. Sometimes the universe slows you down not to punish you, but to prepare you. What you call delay, life calls development. Patience gives time for preparation to meet opportunity, for clarity to meet decision, for strength to meet struggle. Without patience, you might receive what you're not ready for, and lose it just as fast. The beauty of patience lies in its quiet transformation. While you wait, you grow. You learn resilience, humility, discipline, and faith. You stop measuring progress by visible results and start measuring it by internal growth. Patience refines character. It teaches you that slow progress is still progress. The most beautiful transformations often happen silently, behind the scenes, in moments of doubt and endurance. The butterfly doesn't emerge in one day. It spends time in the cocoon, hidden from the world, transforming in stillness. That's what patience does. It cocooned your potential until you're strong enough to fly. The impatient break the cocoon too soon and wonder why they can't soar. But those who wait, who endure the silence, not just changed, but unrecognizable. Patience also teaches emotional intelligence. It trains you to respond, not react. To think before you speak. To breathe before you break. When you're patient, you stop taking temporary emotions as permanent truths. You realize that not every situation needs an instant reaction, not every provocation deserves attention. The patient don't waste energy on things that won't matter tomorrow. They understand that time reveals what emotion distorts. Patience is the pause that saves you from regret. It gives you perspective, clarity, and peace. When you master patience, you master peace. You no longer rush to prove, explain, or defend. You trust that truth reveals itself in time. That's real confidence, not loud declarations, calm assurance. The beauty of patience is also seen in how it deepens relationships. Impatience breeds misunderstanding, but patience builds connection. When you're patient with people, you create space for empathy and growth. You understand that everyone moves through life at their own pace. You stop demanding perfection and start appreciating effort. You stop trying to change others and start inspiring them through your calm. Patience turns frustration into understanding, arguments into dialogue, and distance into strength. It is the language of love and the foundation of trust. 'Cause patience says, I see your potential, even when it's not yet visible. And that kind of patience heals more than words ever could. Patience also teaches timing, the wisdom of knowing when to act and when to wait. The impatient act from fear, the patient act from clarity. Sometimes the best move is no move. When you wait with awareness, you allow the right opportunities to align. Patience prevents you from forcing connections, rushing decisions, or accepting less than you deserve. It's not stagnation. It's precision. It's the maturity to understand that everything comes when it's supposed to, not when you demand it. Verse rewards patience because it shows readiness. Impatience says, I need it now. Patience says, I'll be ready when it arrives. One is fear, the other is faith. Patience also reveals your relationship with yourself. How you handle waiting shows how much you trust your process. The impatient constantly compare. They look sideways, counting others' blessings, and in doing so, they drain their own peace. But the patient know that comparison is the thief of progress. They understand that everyone's timeline is unique. You might be in your planting season, while someone else is in their harvest. Envy their fruit. Water your soil. Patience reminds you that slow growth builds deep roots, and deep roots withstand storms. The faster you rise, the faster you fall, the steadier you build, the longer you last. The patient are never rushed by others' pace. They move with divine timing. There's a serenity that comes from mastering patience. It's the peace of knowing that what's meant for you will find you, no matter how long it takes. You stop chasing outcomes and start nurturing alignment. You stop begging for doors to open and start building doors yourself. Stop questioning delays and start trusting the design. The impatient crumble under waiting. The patient use waiting as preparation. Patience is not about standing still. It's about growing roots while others chase the wind. Because when the storm comes, only those with deep roots remain. To practice patience, start small. Be patient with your growth, your healing, your journey. Don't rush your evolution because it doesn't look fast enough. Progress that lasts is progress that's built slowly. Be patient with your dreams. Big things take time. Be patient with your pain. Healing takes time. Be patient with people. Understanding takes time. And most of all, be patient with yourself. You are still becoming. The most beautiful version of you is being built one choice, one lesson, one season at a time. You can't rush self-mastery. You can only grow into it. The world glorifies quick results, but quick rarely equals quality. The loudest don't always last. The brightest flames burn out fastest. The strongest structures are built slowly, layer by layer. Patience builds things that last because it allows wisdom to guide action instead of ego. When you act with patience, you align with flow instead of force. Chase, you attract. You don't rush, you refine. You don't panic, you prepare. And when the right moment comes, you move with precision because you've been preparing quietly all along. So, see the beauty in waiting. The waiting season is not wasted. It's sacred, where character forms, faith deepens, and purpose strengthens. When nothing seems to be working, that's when patience is doing its greatest work. Because patience doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes you. It teaches you that timing is everything, and everything beautiful takes time. The seed becomes a forest only after enduring storms, seasons, and stillness. Likewise, your journey will bloom in its own divine season. Don't rush the process. Honor it. Every second of waiting is shaping your strength. Every delay is directing your destiny. Patience isn't punishment, it's preparation. And when the time comes, when everything finally aligns, back and realize that patience wasn't about waiting at all. It was about becoming. That's the beauty of patience. It transforms the waiting room into a classroom where you learn the quiet art of trusting your timing, your process, your power. Consistency is the silent champion of success, the invisible thread that connects every dream to its fulfillment, the difference between those who start strong and those who finish victorious. It is not talent, not luck, not inspiration that defines greatness. It is consistency. The discipline to show up every day, even when the motivation fades, when progress feels invisible, even when no one is watching. Consistency is what separates wishers from workers, talkers from doers, starters from finishers. It is the quiet repetition of effort, the daily grind that builds momentum, the small disciplined actions that compound over time into massive results. People often underestimate the power of consistency because it looks simple, boring. But the truth is, consistency is the ultimate power because it turns ordinary actions into extraordinary outcomes. The person who trains a little every day will always surpass the one who trains hard once a month. The one who reads a few pages every night will eventually hold the wisdom of libraries. The one who writes a single paragraph daily will someday hold a book in their hands. Consistency is the bridge between intention and manifestation, dreaming and doing. It doesn't demand perfection. It demands persistence. The victory of consistency is that it builds momentum, and momentum is the engine of achievement. The hardest part of any journey is not the middle or the end. It's the start. It's building the habit of showing up. Once you build that habit, once you show up enough times, something magical happens, momentum takes over. You start moving not because you're forcing yourself, but because it becomes who you are. Consistency transforms effort into identity. It turns, I'm trying, into, I am. Every day you show up, you cast a vote for the person you're becoming. Each repetition strengthens your identity. Consistency rewires your brain, reshapes your discipline, and redefines your potential. It is the process through which effort becomes effortless. But most people quit before that transformation happens because they mistake slow progress for no progress. They fail to see that greatness grows in layers, not leaps. The seed doesn't sprout overnight. The body doesn't transform in a week. The craft doesn't master itself in a month. But if you keep watering, if you keep showing up, you'll eventually break through the surface. And when you do, the world will call it sudden success, unaware of the years of consistent effort that made it possible. Consistency is not glamorous. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep, practicing your craft when no one cares. It's eating clean when temptations surround you. It's doing the work when it feels thankless. But those moments of quiet effort are where real strength is forged. It's in the repetition that you refine skill, strengthen discipline, and sharpen focus. The world celebrates outcomes, but consistency celebrates effort. The true reward of consistency isn't just success, it's mastery. Become so attuned to your craft, so disciplined in your habits, that excellence becomes your default state. You don't need to push yourself anymore. Your habits pull you forward. That's the victory. When consistency stops being an effort and starts being your nature, the challenge of consistency lies in its simplicity. It doesn't give instant gratification. It doesn't produce overnight glory. It tests your patience because the results often come long after the effort. You'll wake up many days feeling like nothing's changing. Question if it's worth it. You'll be tempted to stop, to take shortcuts, to seek quick wins. But consistency teaches you a higher truth. Real success is not built in intensity, it's built in endurance. Anyone can work hard for a day, a week, or a month. Few can stay disciplined for years. That's why consistency is rare. It demands that you fall in love with the process, not just the prize. It demands that you commit even when it's not exciting. It demands that you trust the unseen accumulation of effort, knowing that small daily steps, repeated relentlessly, will one day move mountains. Consistency also reveals character. It shows who you are when no one is clapping, when no one notices your effort, when the world is silent. Consistency means doing the right thing, not because you're being watched, but because it's who you are. It's integrity in action. The consistent person doesn't perform. They live by principle. They understand that true excellence isn't built in moments of visibility, but in moments of solitude, what you do in silence that shapes what you show in public. The athlete trains when the stands are empty. The writer writes when the pages are blank. Entrepreneur plans when no one believes. The artist creates when no one cares. Consistency is the proof of faith. You keep showing up even when the results haven't shown up yet. The victory of consistency is also freedom. When you are consistent, you take control of your destiny. You no longer rely on motivation, which comes and goes like weather. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. Consistency transforms discipline into a system that moves you forward even when you don't feel like moving. Stop negotiating with yourself. You stop needing to feel ready. You just act, and that action compounds. It's not the intensity of one great day that defines your future. It's the accumulation of countless average days done well. Every rep, every page, step adds up. That's how dreams are built, quietly, steadily, relentlessly. Consistency also builds confidence. When you keep promises to yourself, you start to trust yourself. You stop doubting your ability to follow through. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that you're capable. That internal trust becomes your greatest weapon. Confidence isn't built from external praise. It's built from internal consistency. You can't fake it. You earn it, one action at a time. And when that confidence grows, so does your capacity. You start setting bigger goals because you know you can handle them. Consistency expands your limits because it builds resilience. You stop fearing the grind because you've lived through it. You know that effort works, that discipline pays, that persistence wins. That knowledge is unshakable. That's the true victory. Not just achieving success, but becoming unbreakable in the process. The problem with most people is not that they lack potential. It's that they lack persistence. They quit too soon, change directions too often, and underestimate how long success takes. They look at someone else's highlight reel and assume they're behind, forgetting that consistency compounds differently for everyone. What takes one person a year might take another 5. But that doesn't matter. The goal is not to arrive first, it's to arrive prepared. Consistency is not about pace, it's about persistence. As long as you keep moving, you can be slow, but don't stop. You can stumble, but don't stay down. Progress isn't measured by speed, it's measured by stability. Those who stay the course eventually outlast those who sprint and burn out. The victory of consistency is not just external, it's internal. It forms your mindset. It replaces doubt with discipline, fear with faith, chaos with order. You begin to realize that consistency isn't about perfection. It's about commitment. You'll miss days, you'll fail at times, but what matters is returning. The ability to restart is part of consistency. True consistency is flexible. It bends but doesn't break, adjusts but never abandons. It forgives mistakes and continues forward. That's how you sustain growth over a lifetime. And when you look back after years of steady effort, you'll realize that the victory wasn't in a single moment of triumph. It was in every small decision that got you there. The late nights, early mornings, the rejections, the repetitions, all of it was worth it. Because consistency doesn't just give you results, it gives you identity. You become the person who never gives up. You become the person who can be trusted, relied upon, and respected. You become your own proof that persistence beats perfection. That's the power of consistency. It doesn't just change your life, it changes who you are. Honor your process. Protect your discipline. Don't chase results, chase consistency. Because when you're consistent, have no choice but to chase you. Every day you show up, you move closer to your destiny. Every repetition counts, every effort matters. Consistency is the quiet drumbeat behind every great success story. The rhythm that turns effort into excellence, intention into impact, dreams into reality. The victory of consistency is not that you arrive, it's that you never stopped walking. Keep going, keep building, keep believing, because in the end, success doesn't belong to the most talented, the most intelligent, or the most privileged. It belongs to the most consistent. And that victory, earned, is eternal.